Just 2 years after World War II, the Navy launched a search for a new carrier-borne Navy production fighter that could intercept targets at 50,000 feet within 5 minutes of detection. This was a really big ask. To give a sense of scale, the P-51D's service ceiling was 41,900 feet, and it definitely could not get there in 5 minutes. Designers at the Douglas Aircraft Company began, and this is the impetus for how the Skyray came to be. It really is a nice snapshot of history, a time machine to see what things were like during the early Cold War. Its introduction in service in 1956 made it the first supersonic naval fighter. It set a new time-to-altitude record and became the first Navy fighter to be assigned to NORAD because of its interception ability. Complete with a radar, afterburners, and missiles, this thing was a pretty unique thing when it first came out. Its life was short-lived, and it was out of service by 1964. Again, a snapshot of the past. The call for this plane came just 2 years after the end of World War II, and aircraft technology really accelerated with the dawn of the Cold War, so its life was short. This thing caught my eye when I first saw it flying around in War Thunder. I had never seen this plane before, and after encountering it while playing, I was intrigued. So I looked it up, and I was charmed by its story. So I decided to buy it myself, and this brings us to today. Today we are going to do a breakdown of the F4D-1 Skyray in War Thunder. Is it worth getting, and what's it like playing it in AirSim? If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay. So if you're into that, please subscribe. All of the planes in War Thunder all fly a bit different or have different capabilities. So I selected a handful of clips that best illustrate what's it like to play with the Skyray. The short story is that this plane plays like a kite, so it can turn really well, but it has an immense amount of acceleration and a great climb rate. So this really offers a unique fighting style. This first example is really to show what I meant by this plane flies like a kite, because you can turn really, really well. This F8 is going to be trying to get away from me, and you're going to see that I have a ton of nose authority, and this guy is not going to go anywhere. The guns, I'm not a huge fan on this plane. Very low ammo count, and the guns are a little bit tricky to aim, but it is War Thunder after all. The War Thunder, the damage model is really good, and it's, you hit something and something's going to come right off. So I am using a new pilot with this plane. So that means I'm going to be blacking out a little bit more often. But even with that, I'm still going to have no issues in these fights. So I'm lucky here. This guy actually missed. I wasn't checking my 6 and he took a pass. And we're going to see the acceleration on this thing. I mean, he dove down into me and is climbing away. And I go ahead and chase him up. And you can see that even with me pulling up and turning, the guy had an energy advantage on me, and I'm able to close the gap pretty quickly because this thing climbs like a demon, and that's one of the really fun and compelling things about this plane. The only thing though to keep in mind with this plane is that the top speed is capped. You can go supersonic, but you can't really go much faster than that. Once you kind of get to Mach speed, you're kind of stuck. The plane, I'm guessing it just has a lot of drag because of the size of the plane or the shape of it. And one other really bad thing is the scissoring capabilities on this. So you accelerate quickly, you can climb really quickly, you can turn really well, but you can't really get away and you can't really roll, and that makes it really tricky. You can break your wings by rolling too hard. So that's one thing to keep in mind, but I was able to kill that guy, and I was in a bunch of different enemies, so I go ahead and eat a missile. So that kind of gives you an idea of how it is in a knife fight, and we'll go into some other examples. This next clip is a big fight that I had. And this isn't a BR where I'm mostly fighting against MiG-17s, which are known to be great turners. And again, we're going to see I'm about 900 kph. I'm climbing up for this guy, and no problem, get up to altitude with him. And I did mention before that it's really easy for planes to extend away from you because you can't go that fast. I mean, once you're at like 1,000 kilometers an hour, you kind of cap out, or 1,100. And the other thing too is you only have AIM-9Bs. So you have your cannons and your AIM-9Bs. That's it. You don't really have any other air-to-air missiles, and that makes it really tricky. So I think that was a Milan I was chasing after, and he just went ahead and dipped out. So I cannot catch him. And now I have something behind me, and this is a MiG-17. So pretty bad spot to be in, but I'm trying to slow myself down to basically to try to outturn this guy, and it's working. And I go ahead and go try for an overshoot. Unfortunately, my pilot is basically blacked out because it's a new pilot, but let's see what happens. So he does slip out past us, and we're slow, 330 kph. He definitely has a lot more smack than us. And I'm gonna go for a shot here. It would have been interesting if he would have kept going, because I could have maybe climbed up after him. Probably might have actually caught him. And now we are in a more extended flat turn, and I went ahead and dropped my flaps down, and we're gonna just see this thing again like a kite, just kind of turn, turn, turn. And this was like one of the earlier fights I had after I bought the plane. So for me, I'm actually really testing it to see how it performs in a turn, and looks like that I'm not winning the turn as much as I would like, maybe because I got a little bit too slow. And once I noticed that, I go ahead and try to use the speed of the plane to extend away because it accelerates quite well. And it looks like this guy's going to give up. I mean, I think I was as low as 300 kph, and as soon as I leveled out and hit the afterburners, I picked up speed. So he basically lets me go, and I'm able to whip it around. Shame this thing doesn't have anything better than the AIM-9Bs, because it would actually be a really, really good plane. I mean, it's a fun plane, and I think it's pretty good, but it would be an awesome plane if it had some early Sparrows or a better Sidewinder. Okay, so cannons finished the job, and another MiG-17, and we're going to see the really crappy roll rate on this plane. But able to slow myself down to have him overshoot. And almost like before, we're going into an extended flat turn. And even though this plane doesn't roll super well, just being on the US side and fighting against a lot of planes that have swept wings, kind of, I don't want to say it negates the fact that you have a bad roll rate, but it doesn't feel like it's as highlighted, because not a lot of planes roll as well either. So down to one missile left, about 60 cannon rounds left. And we dodged a head on there, which is a little scary. This guy is going fast. We're at 320 kph trying to catch up. And we're gonna see, is this guy just gonna blow past us and extend? Breaking 550 kph. And we're gonna see what happens. This guy was carrying payload, so he's probably not going as fast as he would like. But we're going to see how this thing is in a drag race. They were breaking 1,000 kph. And we're going to go for a missile shot soon, because if he extends too far... Oh, no, actually I opt for cannons. And I made a mess of that. Really bad. Honestly awful. But new to the gun sight. And we're going to see the climb rate on this thing. And one of my favorite maneuvers in flight sims is to do a hammerhead. So I totally botched the shot, and I overshot. Was able to use the climb rate. This guy's obviously carrying payload because he wasn't really able to catch up with me at all. I mean, this thing does climb better than most things, but I mean, that was very easy. And we're going ahead and get a kill. So let's talk about hammerheads more. Again, hammerheads are one of my favorite maneuvers in flight sims. And this plane is probably one of the best climbers in its BR. It's BR9, and we're going to see a great example of this. So it missed a shot. And we are going to chase after this guy. He's going very, very fast. Okay, that's pretty ideal for us. And he is going fast as hell, so we do not connect, unfortunately. And we know we're not going to catch the guy, so we break off, and we have some sort of French plane here with us. And we let him try to come up after us, and we're trying to bait him into the climb. And the key thing with a hammerhead is to keep an eye on the other plane and to react when you see there's an indication of him not able to follow the climb, like a wing dipping because he's stalling. The whole idea is to have him stall before you do, and then you can kind of come down on him, and then he's trapped. Sometimes hammerheads are called energy traps. So we see the wing dipping, and we go ahead. I drop flaps to bring the nose around, and then we're going to go ahead and slam this guy. And pretty easy in this plane. I mean, look at this. Look how much time we have and how stuck he is. And we go ahead and take him down. So, turns really well. Climbs like a demon. Doesn't roll well, but it does accelerate. I hope you guys found this video interesting. One of the unique and compelling things about War Thunder is the insane amount of coverage that they have with all the planes they have modeled. I have never even heard of this plane before, but the shape of the plane caught my eye and the history of it really sold it. So I hopped into it. Playing combat flight sims is a good way to get interested in some quirky planes and to learn more. I can say that I've been having good fun in this plane, and I can say this without any sort of reservation. I bought this myself. I was not gifted this by the snail. So I really do think this makes for a nice addition to your collection. Let me know what you thought of the format, and let me know if you have this plane and what your thoughts are on it. If you liked the video, please subscribe, as it is the best way to help the channel. Thanks, and have a good one.